Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week to talk about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I'm Andrew Duncan. I've got David Diaz with the Diaz Duo at Waterstone Mortgage with me as my guest today to keep you up to date on everything that is going on with the Tampa real estate market, keep you updated on what's going on. Wanted to give a quick shout out to my real estate team. Excited to announce that we are again in the top 10 for Remax first ranking report for the year.
Nice.
And we're seventh in the country. We finished last year 6th in the world, so we're down a spot. But ultimately, we had a little bit of a slow January, but our April, May, and June look record-breaking. So I have a feeling we'll keep climbing those charts as the year goes on. We seem to finish strong. So excited to see us up in the top 10 rankings again with Remax with over 100,000 agents. So it looks like, with the months that we have on the books now and that are coming, we broke our record for number of listings taken in a month in April. Despite the inventory being so light in Tampa, we keep listing more homes, which is pretty awesome. And then we've got both May and June, I believe, back-to-back months, we're going to break our record for sales volume in a month. So
that's awesome. Probably great news for a lot of buyers too that are looking to buy with this lack of inventory.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's interesting. So, and we've talked about the inventory challenge a lot. A lot of the times our show is focused on us talking about the market and content, and I tend to do my best not to make it an infomercial where we spend an hour beating our chest and talking about how great we are, but I can spend a couple minutes talking about how great we are. You can see a lot of testimonials from our clients as well as our great reviews online, but one of the great things about our uniqueness that happened this week, we sold a home, we put a home under contract for $55,000 above the asking price. And this was like a $130,000 house, so almost a 50% markup just based on a bidding war and the traction that we created from all the marketing that we do. So ultimately, I believe we got an above market price for a seller that's ecstatic. And while it's normal to see bidding wars and things like that, to have one sell for almost 50% above the asking price is definitely not the norm that typical agents are used to handling or used to creating for a customer. So that's one of the things I think we do unique, is being patient in that negotiating process when we do get an offer on the listing, to do what we can to see, are there other people out there that will make an offer on this home? Can we drive the price up for our client? Whereas some agents or sellers may move too quickly, accept an offer too quickly, and not give enough time for that action to happen, especially in a market like today where we don't have a lot of inventory, at least in the marketplace. I do. I've got a ton of inventory, and we just keep piling inventory up. We keep breaking records and listing more homes every single month. But in the market overall, it's still hovering around 3 months of inventory. And I know you guys run into those challenges too on the lending side.
Yeah, of course, and quite frankly, I guess my concern for that particular home would be just the appraisal data.
Cash, baby.
Yeah. Okay, cash. Yeah,
yes, sir.
So that's
cash. It's a cash deal, and that was part of the plan. We knew that if we knew the demand was really strong in that price point area, and the likelihood of an appraisal coming in could be a challenge.
Right.
So yeah, it's no contingency, clean, super fast.
And so that will help the rest of the data moving forward then.
Correct. So the neighbors are going to love. Neighbors are going to love it. Like, all the neighbors around that home in South Tampa should be calling us, because we just helped their equity.
Right.
We helped that whole street. We helped their value go up on that whole street with that one sale. It'll definitely pull everything up.
Excellent.
So we talked a lot on the show about interest rates. We've talked about the market and inventory being light. One of the things I think it's unique about inventory being light is, when you're looking at buying a home and the inventory is so light, you've lost out over and over and over again. Sometimes a different perspective, a different agent, a different strategy can help. There's some unique things that we do that we talked about on the show whenever the inventory is tight. And I think a lot of times we assume that all home sellers are all about the dollar and the money that they can get. And I think a savvy agent that knows how to navigate this terrain and deal in a market like this knows how to make your offer look better than it may be, with some unique strategies. One of which is that we use pretty regularly is we have the buyer tell an emotional story, in a letter to the seller. Photos of the family, why they love the home, maybe attempt to find common ground with the seller. That's something that's been very, very effective for us. If your agent isn't using that, that is something that has to be done in a market like today. I think also having your financing ducks in a row. Way too many people still, right now today, as competitive as the market is, will find the home they want and then go out to get the financing. You're doing it completely backwards. Get the financing up front so that you can make that offer immediately instead of sitting around for 2 days and losing out on it because you didn't listen to your agent. And I know the great agents out there are telling their customer, go get your financing lined up now.
Yeah, it's really a waste of time both for yourself, the agent, and also for the client. If you don't have that step checked off before you're going to look, you're really doing yourself in today's market a great service. And I get the calls on the weekends all the time from other teams and other agents, and you know, I love you guys, and I know there's a lot of other agents that listen to the show, but you have to explain to your client why it's so important to get that pre-approval letter and a review of the finances well before you're going to take them out. It's just, you're going to lose out on this home because the activity is so high if you don't have that in it, you know.
Correct. And I can't tell you how, I mean, we get, you know, hate mail from buyers and agents when they lose out on a home. Right. Because a great offer comes in, multiple offers come in, and they want us to wait a couple days so they can make their offer. Sometimes the seller can do that, and we've done it, but it's the seller's call, not our call, and ultimately a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. When you've got 7 offers on a home, and you bid the price up, you know, to the point where you don't think an appraisal could go a whole lot higher anyway, and it is financing involved, and you want somebody to wait 2 days while you get your stuff together, it just doesn't work that way. Like, not only that, but if you didn't get it together on your financing before you looked at the home, you know, how smooth is the transaction going to be? How great are you going to be at getting your inspection together and your escrow together? You have to prove your case to the seller in a market as competitive as this. You have to come in with everything lined up and everything super clean and neat, or the seller's it's gonna cause concern from the seller to be like, even though their offer may be a little higher, do I want to go with them? Because they didn't have it together when they made the offer. And you know what's going to happen in the transaction? It creates doubt for people. When there's a bidding war type scenario, you have to pay attention to all those little details. You have to have everything lined up and perfectly as a buyer, or you're going to miss out.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, you know, we get the, like I said, we get the text, we get the phone calls, 911. You know, ASAP. I need this pre-approval letter, and I think it's a little bit because you hear. You know, there's these large companies that have these great advertisements right now that say, oh, you can get to your pre-approval letter in 5 minutes. Well, you know what? Sellers don't want to see a pre-approval letter from that company. Because
they know it took 5 minutes. They know how did they really delve into everything.
And the fallout rate of that is so high that it couldn't be better for my business personally, because they think they've done what they need, and it makes it seem as though they have, but really there's so much more that goes into the review process of that. And everybody just thinks that it is a 5-minute process. It can be. You can get this piece of paper, but it's really not saying much.
Right,
it's not
and the reality is it's it's just a piece of paper if nothing is really backing it. And so I think again, when you look at the market that we're in today, the buyers that panic, ASAP, I need the PreQual, I need this, it's because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They should have got it out of the way already. They shouldn't have even been looking at homes before they had that. But they put the cart before the horse, and then they get upset. Oh, I didn't get the house, and why didn't you give me more time? And it's like, the way this whole thing works, you should go get a PreQual before you ever look at a home. You should know what you can afford and what you can buy before you go look. It's kind of like going to the mall, right? Not having any credit, not having any money, and then getting upset when the person at the cash register won't give you the dress for $100 that you promised to pay later. You have to do that up front.
Or go to the grocery store on an empty stomach. You know,
right?
you end up spending a lot more than you should have because you're under pressure. So let's make the process more stress free. So what should the time frame be? I think if you're anywhere within 3 to 4 months of buying, you should start the process.
Yeah,
take a look at it. Get some ideas. There's a lot of different financing programs out there. It is a conversation that needs to be had. What are short-term, what are long-term goals for you, and then talk about discussions as to what program is best fit for you.
And I think there's no question that home buyers right now they understand the market and they've heard about it, but they're not taking the right action. So they're listening. They know what's going on. They know there's not a lot of inventory. They know there's bidding wars in hot neighborhoods and hot price points. And I think it's important to understand this. That is, the bidding wars and all that is not happening in every neighborhood or price point. I mean, it's not happening in the super high-end stuff. It's not happening in areas where homes are saturated, but there's pockets where the inventory is super, super light and where that's happening. But I think buyers are listening they're educating themselves, but they're not taking action. They're not doing what they need to do. And what they need to do is, if you're thinking about going out and looking at homes, get your financing pre-approval done right up front, because otherwise, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go out and you're going to find your dream home, okay? And, you know, let's just put it in my perspective, okay? So let's say I'm, you know, a newly married guy. I'm going out to look at homes, and so we go out, and my wife just falls in love with the place, right? And you know what that's like.
Well, you're screwed.
Well, you don't know what that's like. You don't know what that's like. But your wife falls in love with the home, right? And so she loves it. She loves the closet, the flooring, the kitchen. I mean, all you hear about is how much your wife loves the home. But she didn't get your financing ducks in a row, okay? This is your dream home. You can see your family growing old in the backyard, and your pets playing, and all this kind of stuff. And you didn't get your financing ducks in a row. So you call your agent and you say, hey, let's make an offer. And the agent says, well, we got to have a financing approval letter to submit with it. Well, no, I'm good. I can qualify. Well, I understand that, but this is going to be multiple offers. You know, the seller isn't just going to take your word for it. Right. So then you go out and you start the process, and it takes a day, and then the lender's got questions, and then bam, Monday shows up and the home's gone, off the market, sold. You know what that's going to be like hearing your wife talk about that?
Yeah, you're going to hear about it for.
You're going to hear about it for a while. You know, not only that, but the gut wrenching feeling. You know, and maybe the roles reversed. Maybe it's the husband that loves the home, and he's telling the wife about it. I mean, you know, whatever it is, you messed up, and you lose out on the perfect home because you put the cart before the horse.
And listen, and to compound that story, real life scenario, just 3 days ago, had a previous client that referred me a friend of theirs that they already have a contract on a home. They've already done the pre-approval process. Kudos to them for doing it with another lender. But then they started feeling a little iffy on the situation. So they asked them to give me a call. This is a first-time home buyer that has the opportunity to get $15,000 in free money from the state right now. And the parallels were, I mean, it's a no-brainer situation. If you're a first-time home buyer in Hillsborough County and you can qualify for this grant, it's a no-brainer to take advantage of. They had never heard of it. The realtor had never heard of it. The loan officer had definitely never told them that they could possibly qualify for it. Simple process. We're going to get them, you know, the money. And it's just one of those things you need to talk. You know, you need to talk to somebody that's educated in the marketplace to know what's available to you. Not just the first thing. Hey, you think you want a 3.5% down payment and they give it to you. No, let's talk about options. What are you really looking to do?
And I think it's important because a lot of times people go into it and then they rush through the loan process and they miss out on opportunities or great loan products they didn't know about because they needed to act quickly, and they act quickly but they didn't act intelligently. So we're going to continue this conversation. We're going to keep talking about the local Tampa Bay real estate market after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show.